We're making a welcome planter. This is another workshop that we do very commonly, and people do love it. And so we're going to do this right now to show you how to put this whole thing together. Teresa normally does the greening part, and then Rena will step in and she'll decorate. So we'll just walk you through it starting now. Hey, Teresa.
Hi. All right, so today we are doing the welcome planter, as Erna said, and I'm going to actually take this off so you can hear me clearer. All right, so we start with, we have red cedar, we have Douglas fir, which you can use either side, the light side or the dark side, and we also have the white pine, which is a really nice long needle and very fragrant. Everything has a lot of smell to it, so it adds a nice scent to your front step. So I usually like to start with my fir just because it has a nice solid piece. We have the soil in here already, so you make sure you have your soil in your pot, add water to it. Water, once you put it outside, it will freeze. Your greens will stay in place, they won't fall out because it'll all freeze in solid. What we always like to do is add that fresh cut on your greens because of the moisture in your pots. When you add that fresh cut to your greens, it's going to open up those pores and start drawing moisture from, even when it freezes, they're still drawing moisture from that soil. So with the fir, as I said, I'm going to take that stem. What I do is, because this piece is too big to use one whole one, so I kind of line it up like this and see where I want to trim it. So my first trim, I'm going to do there. And we always use every bit of our greens that we possibly can. So there's very, very minimal waste. Like this piece here, I can actually cut it into a few more. Like this one branch is fairly large. So I like to start with my back of the planter, so my height. Then I do my front. In my front, I like to flow it over. You still want to see your container because it's quite pretty. So my flowing comes over just very thinly. And then I do the middle. In the middle, you make it a little bit shorter than your back and a little bit longer than your front. So you're creating a layered look, which you'll end up having a nest here. And that's where the decorating part will come in, and then that's where it will end up being. So fresh cut on the greens and different layers. So I have a fairly tall one. I'm going to take a branch off of here and I'm going to tuck it in so you see how it's flowing over. Put it in at an angle, 45-degree angle. Here I'm going to put one here. You can see how I'm always doing that fresh cut. Even if it sat there and I didn't use it, I'll always add, just take a very tip off like this. So I do have some here that are pre-cut, but I will give it just a slight cut at the end so that I make sure that it is open. Even pieces like this, like you would think, oh, you know, it's garbage, but it's not. We use everything. Sorry, you're gonna have some pieces of stems come at you there on the video, but I apologize for that. So you're seeing how now I have my height, I have some flowing over, and I have that filled in area. Now I'm going to switch over to the red cedar. Red cedar is really, really nice, very airy. Again, kind of line up so you're cutting your piece only one time. And just sit it in a little bit different of a direction. If some of the greens are falling over, later on once you decorate, you'll kind of place them and decorate and kind of hold them in. You can also wire some greens to the metal stand. If you decide it's flopping over too much, just add a little piece of wire to it and it'll hold it in place. So again, I'm following that same pattern. I do the back, I do the front edges, kind of in between your cedars. You don't have to jam it full because when it comes to decorating, you need room to get your decorating items in there. And it'll fill in all the empty spaces that that are there. So you can see how now you can still see the fir, you can still see the cedar. I'm just going to turn it so I have a little bit more direct look at it. Cut those pieces and get some different heights, and it's nice having different textures in there, excuse me. Sometimes they flop like this, so I do this. And what that does, especially in the fir, I find I have that. The pine will often be very curled like this. So I just do this. It actually loosens up the juices in the plant, and it straightens them out a bit, but it just helps them to revive and after being cut and not in moisture for a period of time. I'm just going to add, I think, one piece of fir right in the front here. So you can see here. So it all looks really nice on that side, but right here it just looks a little empty. So I'm just going to add one more piece of fir in there. And that is my 3 items of greens. Now I'm going to switch over to my pine, and I'm going to add the pine in there. So like I said, some of these are a little pre-cut, but I'm just going to just take a little, half an inch maybe off of them. And again, kind of following that same pattern. Get some in the back so you can see it. And a little bit here flowing over. And you always want to make sure that your pieces are long enough that you see them. If they're too short, you tuck them in, you don't see them, then it's not doing anything for your planter. I think I need a little bit more height.
I see some cut edges. Will that be hidden by the time?
By the time you decorate, it'll be all hidden and it'll be fine. Yeah, not a problem. You'll have pine cones, you'll have berries, plus we'll put some sticks in, which I'll do that right away. Just gonna see. Always adding that fresh cut. So you can see how they're flowing over. One little piece here I'm just going to take and I'm going to tuck it in right over here. So you're still seeing the greens. Yeah, there's a cut there, but not a problem. All right, so the front, I would say, is for greens is done. I'm going to turn it around so you can see the back. So the back, there's a little bit of empty spots there, and this is a perfect time, just if you have some odds and ends laying on your table, just take those, just tuck them in, just to fill that in a little bit, and gives it that nice finished look.
Just in case you happen to be walking past the backside, I guess. Eh?
Just in case you see the backside, yep.
Yep.
All right, so the greening is done. Now I'm going to take some of the sticks that I had here. We have birch sticks. You can add twigs, you can add red dogwoods, you can do anything like that. Today we're doing the birch sticks.
Yeah, that is young birch.
Yeah.
So it hasn't turned white yet.
Right. So then on these it doesn't matter if you cut or not. I'm cutting just so I have the length on them. Even some of the shorter ones like this is good. You want to tuck it in the front so you have the different layers in it. And I kind of line it up just like I did with my greens, just to see if it's too long, then I'll trim it down. But you also want to have a bit of height to it. You want to see it behind the sign. And if it's in the front of the sign a little bit, that's okay too. All right. Just going to turn it so I can see from the front. Yes. All right. So that is the welcome planter. All greened. Soil's nice and damp so it'll freeze in. And yeah, you got your sticks in there. And like I said, there's a variety of different sticks that you can add to it. And that's it. Now we're gonna have Rena come in and we're gonna get her to decorate.
So what we're going to use today from your kit is going to be a strand of berries. A little goes a long way with the berries. So what we're going to do is we're actually going to break it up into smaller pieces so that we can disperse it through the planter. We also have 2 pine cones here, and I've got a bow that's already pre-made. Now what we do here at Oak Ridge, we don't like to waste a lot, so we use sticks that we've cut from our live greens and odds and ends, and we use those with some wire to adhere the things to the planter so that they stay and freeze in nicely and you don't have your bow blowing off in the wind. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and take my berries. As you can see, it naturally kind of sections off into little pieces here. So I'm going to use 2 clusters. Now the stem is probably just about the right height for the top cluster here. So I'm going to take it and I am going to layer it in between the greens and have it kind of coming through both the greens and have some of the twigs in front so that it looks like it's actually part of the greens and not sticking out from them. Now you'll notice Teresa has done the planter so that it's got a natural flow out this way. So I'm going to use that, and I'm going to take some of my berries here. I have 2 little pieces, and I am going to just twist these guys on to the stick. And I'm just going to grab a smaller piece of wire here and kind of weave through the berries and twist it around so that it's nice and adhered to the stick. Go ahead and just take my pruning cutters here and shorten that up. And I'm going to go and tuck them under this layer of greens, making sure that they are grabbing into the soil so that they stay nice. So you can see the natural flow of the greens comes this way, and I've done the berries to do the same. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to add my pine cones. I'm going to get a nice long piece of wire for the pine cone, and I'm going to take it and I'm going to weave it through the skirt of the pine cone. Now when you come to a meet, just give it a little twist there, and then I'm going to use one of the sticks that I have cut off from the other piece, and I'm just going to give it a nice little twist around here, going both ways, and we're good there. Now I'm going to take one of them and I'm going to fill in this little pocket. So when Teresa teaches you to make these welcome planters, she's going to create it so that it has a little bit of a pocket for decorating, which is great because you don't want your decor to be pushing down your greens. You want it to naturally flow. So the next one here, got already wired, and I'm just going to take it, twist it on and around, and then this one I'm going to have coming a little more up this way. Now, the last piece is going to be the bow. When we make our bows here, we always make them so that one tail is longer than the other. That asymmetry creates a nicer look and more of a natural flow. So I'm just taking my bow and I'm wiring it on. And I'm going to tuck that one straight into here. Now that I've got it all together, you can kind of take these pieces and you can make the ribbon kind of flow through them so that it's not just sitting on top. And adjust. And there we have it. So that is just your basic way of decorating your welcome planter.